Hi, this is Hazel with Keyhole Conversations. I'm here today with Bonnie Tharp, and she's going to be reading from her prize-winning book, Feisty Family Values. And this is going to be a favorite scene of hers from the book, and I'm going to turn it over to her now.
Hello. I'm going to read from my book, Feisty Family Values. And to set the scene a little bit, Annabelle Hubbard is a woman in her 60s, and she is now homeless. And so she goes to her cousin, who doesn't like her very much, and asks for a place to stay. She has been accepted as a temporary guest, and Regina is her cousin, and Regina lives with her friend Tilly, who is a chef. So that's kind of where we're at. Annabelle has arrived. It had been 50 years since she'd slept in this house, and Annabelle still felt as unwanted as a bug in the pantry. She tossed off the covers and stretched her stiff back. Time to check out the garden. It would be good to smell the fragrant earth again. She missed the early days with her husband David on her daddy's farm, the time before he had shown her the power of his fist. Annabelle buttoned up a blue cotton house dress while she pushed her thoughts away from those images. Tilly's right. I'm a Morgan too, she said aloud. Exiting the room, Annabelle passed the farm painting over the stairs. She sighed. Regina got the house, the paintings, the car, and the diamond earrings, while all she'd gotten were Grandma's string of pearls and bruises. Proof again just how low on the food chain she lived. Walking through the kitchen, she grabbed a handful of cookies and headed out the back door. Stuffing them into her mouth, her fingers flexed with the urge to dig in the dirt. A bakery rack stood sentinel on the porch, holding small gardening tools, clay pots, and a crumpled straw hat. Smiling at the dusty bonnet, she tucked a pair of gloves and a spade into her pocket and headed toward an impressive collection of weeds. I'll stand up straight and tall, by damned, strong as those thistles. However undesirable we both might be, she said. The roses needed the least attention, so Annabelle crossed the grass to the once productive vegetable garden. She started on the corner nearest the stepping stones. Sinking to her knees, she wondered if Liddy would water the plants she had nursed back to health. Probably not. Her daughter only soaked herself with 80 proof. Peggy might take care of them. She was such a budding young lady at 13. Resuming her role of doing the dirty work, Annabelle found she enjoyed it. What a waste to let good dirt go unused. She loved to create pretty things from the dark loam. With both hands, Annabelle yanked on a particularly stubborn clump of weeds, only to discover a matted gray fur ball hidden behind it. What in the world? Reaching for it, she was startled when it hissed and two bright green eyes popped open. Leaning closer, Annabelle could see that the kitten was sorely mangled and missing a back leg. Its eyes never blinked when Annabelle scooped it into her arms. Poor little thing, she said, cradling it close. Annabelle stroked the tiny velvet ear and watched the eyes slowly close. She smiled at the cat's motor began to rumble. Struggling to rise without disturbing her charge, the old woman creaked onto one knee and then managed to stand. Phew! Now let's see if we can get some help. When she started toward the back porch, the light snapped on over the sink. Tilly's mop of white hair popped into view. Psst! Come here! Tilly emerged through the back door with 2 cups of steaming coffee. What have you got there? Someone's gray muff? No, it's a 3-legged cat. As if on cue, the kitten lifted its feeble head and mewed. Only 3? Well, it looks awful. Don't let Regina see it or she'll have a fit. She doesn't approve of pets. I can barely feel its heartbeat, and it's all bones. Is there a vet close by? Tilly set down the mugs so she could hold the door open. There sure is, honey. Let's give him a call. A few minutes later, Tilly hung up the phone. Dr. Kincaid is waiting for us. What about a car? We'll borrow Regina's. Oh, Lordy, Annabelle said, crossing herself. You'll borrow my what? Regina sailed into the room under full steam. Is the coffee ready? Spinning around in an attempt to hide the cat and Annabelle behind her, Tilly smiled. We need to borrow the caddy. For what purpose? We have an errand to run. Annabelle stood mute, watching the interplay. She could clearly see Regina's expression had turned suspicious. May I ask where? You can ask, but I advise you not to. It'll just piss you off. Matilda Jean, what is going on here? Quit trying to hide Annabelle behind you. It's an impossibility. Straightening her shoulders, Tilly stepped closer, pointing a finger at her friend's sternum. We found an injured kitten outside, and we're taking it to the vet. Grabbing Tilly's thin shoulders, Regina moved her aside and gasped. That disgusting bundle can't be a cat. It's a stinking rodent. Annabelle, throw it back outside. I will not. She cradled the kitten to her bosom. It's hurt, and I'm going to see that it's cared for, even if I have to walk. Tilly held out her cut palm. Hand over the keys, Regina. Over my dead body, Regina said, crossing her arms over her chest. Don't tempt me. Tilly pushed her out of the way. I will not have that filthy animal touching the leather seats. Do you hear? Don't be such a priss. It can't ride in the trunk, Tilly said. Regina snatched her keys out of Tilly's hand. Fine. Annabelle can hold it in her lap, and I will drive my Cadillac, if you don't mind. With a wide grin and a wink, Tilly signaled Annabelle to follow.
Thank you, Bonnie, for being with us today and reading a favorite scene from your book. And we'll be looking forward to reading that soon. And I'd like to thank all of you for listening. And that's it today for Keyhole Conversations.